Back Classic Game Room on Patreon!
Vanished from Earth Classic Game Room broadcasts from the Intergalactic Space Arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything. I always enjoy resetting the clock on my Saturn. It reminds me how old it is and that it's still working. Welcome to the review of Darius II on the Sega Saturn from Taito from 1996. This is actually the European PAL release, which plays perfectly well on an American Sega Saturn, provided you have the action replay card and an HDMI up converter to break the PAL signal into something awesome like this, Darius II, which was also released as Sagaya on the Sega Genesis. An absolutely brutal, difficult game. It's no easier here. What you may notice immediately is the super widescreen mode, which is nothing that I did with the recording. That's actually the way the game plays. Now, you can zoom in on it, but then you lose some of the right and left of the screen. And it's really helpful to see what's coming at you from a distance, so the widescreen mode does just fine. Like the other Darius games, this one has a zone select feature as you make your way through it. Choose your path to instant death in Darius. I haven't found any particularly easy way through the game. Now, some of the levels are a bit more chaotic than others, and repeat gameplay is obviously the key to getting through any of them. The other secret is never die, never lose your shield in Darius, or else you're doomed. When you're blown up, you lose your weapon power-ups, and you really need your missiles and spread shot. They're very important in this game because the enemies are fast and numerous. They care not for you, only your imminent death and destruction. By the third level, regardless what path you choose, the game is insanely difficult. You have enemies swarming the screen, shooting at you, attacking you from behind, launching homing missiles, firing lasers, and just crashing into your ship. And if that doesn't get you some lava will or a giant end boss that looks like a deep sea angler with a laser beam eye, food poisoning would be an easier way to go. The music is interesting. It's your typical weird-ass Darius soundtrack that sounds like you're listening to it underwater in space while being shot at by laser fish. So I'd say they nailed it from that perspective. The controls are solid. You can play 1 or 2 players simultaneously. And one of my favorite features, since I'm horrible at this game and it's pretty much impossible, is that after all of my ships are destroyed and I've used up all of my credits for continues, I can just pick up the second controller and continue as player 2 with the blue ship. It's like I'm cheating, except I don't care. Haha, you didn't think I had extra ships in reserve. But I do. I will win this game by any means necessary, and I did thanks to the level select. You can find a level select code online. You might want that to practice. This was originally released by Taito in 1989 to the arcades, so it's meant to eat quarters. and demoralize you. This one is aimed at those of you who are serious about your spaceship shooters or want to take out your aggression on undersea space creatures. It's extremely difficult, and it's actually not one of the more expensive spaceship shooters on the Saturn. You can find this one for a reasonable price compared to a lot of the other ones. This is the European release. There's also a Japanese one. I have no idea if it was released in the US. When you play the game over and over again, you'll quickly realize there's really not that much difference between the levels. You frequently fight the same end bosses, the same enemies, but there's subtle differences spread throughout, and you can also poke around with that level select code if you search for that. It's a Darius game and a very difficult one if you like this series. And I've got a robot undersea creature inspired classic game room shout out and thank you going to my man Frank from San Leandro, California. Thank you, Frank, who also sent Solar Eclipse for the Saturn, one of the next games I'm reviewing. Very fun.
Classic Game Room has been brought to you by How to Make a Video Game Review Show That Doesn't Suck, Ethel the Cyborg Ninja, and Jesus the Coked Up Chicken on Amazon.
Welcome to the Lord Carnage Club, being shouted from within. A turbo volcano! Starting with Billy and Andy Schleiss. Derek Langley. Michael and Ariana Nelson. Steven Chucknick. Al Stever. Jason Goy. Sergio Matthias Hergert. Sean Zoltek. Rick DeBarros. Philip Strabenmuller. Jack Stavris. Ohad Kane. And Tiago Pereira dos Santos Silva from Porto, Portugal. Tiago Pereira dos Santos Silva from Porto, Portugal.